Croeso pawb to the Black Friday PSN sale. Black Friday's a big deal, but the sales aren't always the best. But hey, I've gone through it, and I found some really cool games for you to play, and you can save a lot of money as well. So if you like finding cool new games to play, and saving a lot of money along the way, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, you're welcome here anytime. Now this sale ends on the 2nd of December, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up, we have Alan Wake Remastered. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, although it was originally much older than that as it came out in the 360 era, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £6.24, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great price for a remaster of a really famous game from back in the day. This remaster has 4K visuals and includes both of the DLC expansions, The Signal and The Writer, plus it includes both the PS4 and PS5 versions as well, so you're getting the best version of the game with all of the content included, and both versions as well, which is really cool. In this survival horror, a troubled author desperately searches for his missing wife as he finds a horror story that he doesn't remember writing, but as the story starts coming true page by page, he doubts his own sanity as a hostile darkness enslaves everyone around him. Now, back in the day I used to have a 360 because it was basically a Halo machine for me to play with my mates, and that was around the time they started games for gold, and they started giving away free games just like PlayStation, and this was one of them. So back in the day I completed this game on 360, and as much as I'm not a big fan of survival horrors, I really enjoyed it. I played it because it was hyped back then and everyone else was playing it, and I thought I'd give it a go since I didn't have to pay for it, and it was a really cool game. The idea around enemies being bathed in shadow and you having to use light to deal with that before you can finish them off with weaponry was really cool at the time, and it made finding batteries for your torches more important than finding ammo for your guns. It made it quite scary, playing on the shadow aspect, and it was a really good game in general. Now I haven't played the remaster, but if it's half as good as the original, it'll be really good, and the reviews say it is. So if you're into survival horror, or you never played this when it was originally out, then why not take a look at it? I think you'll love it if you're a fan of horror games, so if that's you, definitely take a look at it. You'll have a great time, I promise. And hey, if you've never played a survival horror before, then you could definitely start here, but you can pick up other AAA games for about the same price, and even ones from Legendary series as well, like the Resident Evil games, or many others of that sort of type. There's a huge amount of games in the horror genre, and especially the survival horror is full of really legendary series, with really good games at really good prices. So if you really like the look of this game, definitely check it out. But if not, don't worry, you'll have plenty more options in future sales. Asterix and Obelix XXXL. The Ram from Hibernia is our next game. It was released in 2022, so it's only 2 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £8.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for the newest game in this franchise. Now, this is a bit weird, but only the PS5 version is on sale, but it does include the PS4 version as well. So if you want the game, don't buy it on a PS4 because it's full price. Buy it on a PS5 or on the website and you'll get both, and then you can play it on the PS4 anyway. You just have to buy it off not a PS4, if that makes sense. In this beat-em-up, Asterix and Obelix travel to Hibernia to help their king fight off the invading Romans and help him recover his golden ram along the way. It features 6 worlds to play through, an original story, hidden paths to find, and 4-player local co-op as well. It's a shame it doesn't have online multiplayer, but hey, at least it's got local co-op, which is really cool if you like playing games with friends, family, or at parties and stuff as well. I was a huge fan of Asterix when I was a kid. I really liked the comics and I used to rent them from the library all the time. Absolutely loved them. They were really funny, and if you haven't read them and you're a fan of comics, I would definitely check them out, especially if you can speak French because that was the original language. I've heard the French versions are better, but I don't speak French. Welsh and English is enough. And a bit of German I guess, but that doesn't count. In any case, I've read the English ones and absolutely love them. In fact, I don't know why I haven't bought them, or at least downloaded them from somewhere. In any case, if you're a fan of beat-em-ups, there's been a series of these games for a while now. They're not all beat-em-ups, or at least they're not all the same style of beat-em-ups. A lot of them are third person, but this one's a top-down beat-em-up, and it may not have as good a reviews as the other ones. Apparently it's got some bugs and stuff, but I only seen reports of that for PC, so the console version might be fine. Either way, if you're a fan of beat-em-ups or you like Asterix, definitely take a look at this. They don't make a lot of these games these days, and especially 3D ones with modern graphics. That's very unusual. So if you're into that sort of thing, why not take a look? It might be a lot of fun if you like this sort of thing. And hey, if you've never played a beat-em-up before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's a bit pricey compared to the other ones in the genre, so you can pick up big AAA ones for cheaper than this on sale. You're much better off starting with that instead. Unless of course you're a big Asterix fan, in which case you might want this game anyway, so go for it. But if not, don't worry, I'll let you know when there's more beat-em-up deals in future videos. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £8.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for a game with this sort of heritage. This is a side-scrolling RPG, where an orphan cursed by an alchemist slowly turns to crystal, but must enter a demon-infested castle, summoned by a paranormal force, to defeat the monsters within, and steal the shards of immense power to save humanity and herself from turning to crystal. Now, this game is made by some people who were very instrumental in the original Castlevania series and some of the modern ones as well. So it's basically a spiritual successor to that series, and they don't really make Castlevania games anymore. So it's nice to see someone taking on the mantle, and when it's got people that worked on some of the older ones, then you can't really ask for much more really. It was crowdfunded, and it did pretty well. They've made 3 games in general. This is the most modern one, the other 2 were more retro-styled ones, and there's supposed to be a sequel in the works for this as well. So if you're a big fan of the Castlevania series and you want a more modern one, then why not check it out? I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it. And hey, if you've never played a side-scrolling RPG before, then you could start here because it's got good heritage, and especially if you like the Castlevania series, you'll probably really like it. But if you're not sure, or you're not really that fussed about the Castlevania history, then don't worry, there's plenty more games in this genre, and you can get them cheaper than this, and other big AAA games, for about the same price when they're on sale as well. So if you'd rather play something else, then don't worry. Watch the future videos and you won't miss them when they're on sale next. You know, sometimes with the weird naming of games, and especially bundles where they don't put the bundled games in the name, it's so many games on sale, and in the PS Store in general, that I forget what's in some of the game bundles sometimes. But thanks to the comments, I'm now reminded of what's in this bundle. So the next game is Darksiders 3 Blades and Whip Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, but a couple of the games are older than that really. And it's on an 85% discount for the price of £9.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal because this includes 3 big AAA games, even though it doesn't say that. As this edition includes the 2 DLC expansions, The Crucible and Keepers of the Void, plus the first 2 games, Darksiders War Master Edition and Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition. So you're getting all 3 games with all of the DLC for the best versions as well, which is really cool. In these hack and slash adventures, in the first game you play as War, accused of starting a war between heaven and hell, in which the demonic forces slaughtered the heavenly hosts and laid claim to Earth. In the second game you play as Death himself, awakened by the end of days, embarking on a quest to redeem his brother's name, while dealing with an ancient grudge that threatens all of creation. And finally, in the third game, you get to return to the apocalyptic Earth as Fury, a horseman of the apocalypse on her quest to destroy the 7 deadly sins, bringing balance to the forces that ravage the Earth. It features an open world and multiple combat forms, abilities and weapons to use, which is really cool. Now, this may seem weird, but in the past I've seen this series compared to the Zelda series, and you might be thinking, well, they're nothing alike, right? Well, gameplay-wise, they pretty well are. They're both adventures where you get to explore areas, collect weapons and upgrade yourself, and basically go on an adventure, and having a lot of combat and fun. They're not exactly the same thing, but I get the comparisons. And with this bundle you get 3 full games. Now all of them are pretty well liked, especially the earlier ones, they were really well loved. And it's a really good series with really good quality games, and at this price it's a really good deal. So if you're a fan of hack and slash adventures, or adventures in general, then why not check this out? This is a really epic story of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and a war between angels and demons. So if you like cool stuff like that, definitely check it out. It's a really good deal with a lot of content, and I was considering it for the start buy, but as you'll see in this sale, there's a few contenders, and this got close. So if you like the sound of it, definitely take a look. And hey, if you've never played a hack and slash adventure before, then definitely check this out. The only negative I would have is that you're getting a lot of games for your money, so if you don't like them, that's a lot of game you're not going to play. But hey, it's a really good deal. You're getting 3 AAA amazing games for a really good price. So if you like these sorts of games or you always wanted to try them, definitely check it out. Especially if you've got interest in this series, it's well worth the money and you'll have a lot of fun with it. So why not take a look if you're interested. We're going back to the past for the next game, Full Throttle Remastered. It was released in 2017, so it's 7 years old, although the original is much older than that really, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £2.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for a remaster of a pretty legendary game. This remaster includes the original 1995 classic by legend Tim Schafer, and a fully remastered version as well, including new graphics and remastered audio, plus creator commentary and concept art as well. So if you're a big fan of this game, or Tim Schafer in general, then you'll really enjoy this game. Not only do you get the original game, but you get the remaster as well, plus a load of cool stuff for fans as well. In this point-and-click adventure, it's a LucasArts classic, where you get to play as Ben Throttle, a badass biker and butt-kicking leader of the Polecats biker gang, as he gets caught up in a tale of motorcycles, mayhem, and murder. Now, point-and-click adventures used to be huge back in the day, because on the limited hardware you had, it was a really good way to have adventure games. Now, these days that's been left behind, mainly for more advanced gaming technology. But hey, point-and-click adventures are still fun, and they do still make them as well sometimes. So if you're a fan of the genre, or you like puzzles and adventures in general, then you might want to check this out. It may not be the most popular genre around, but this is a really big legendary game from back in the day, and at this price, it's a good deal. So if you're intrigued or interested in this genre, or just the fact that it's an old classic, then why not check it out? You'll probably really enjoy it, if you like the look of it. And hey, if you've never played a point-and-click adventure before, then you could definitely start here. It's a huge game from back in the day, and it's at a really good price, with a load of content included, and a full remaster as well. So you can't ask for much more really. If you've always wanted to try a point-and-click adventure, then why not take a look at this one? Pretty much the only way I'd say don't bother is if you're not interested in the theme and the story, because point-and-click adventures are defined by their story and their location. So if this one doesn't do it for you, there'll be another one that you'll like more. And if that's the case, then don't worry, keep up with the videos, and you won't miss them when they're on sale next. Huntdown is our next game. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £2.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal for a really cool looking game. This run and gun is set in a future ruled by gangs, where cops fear to tread, and only the bounty hunters can lay waste to the criminal underworld and save the city. It features local co-op, a cover system, a synth soundtrack, and a sense of humour as well, which is funny. This game looks really cool to me. It reminds me a lot of the heyday of run and gun shooters, like the Contra series on SNES, or the Metal Slug series on arcade. Either way, it looks like a really cool, good quality game to me. Co-op's a good bonus. They don't have that in a lot of games these days, and it's nice to see it included here. And especially the cover system looks cool. In the trailers and gameplay I've seen, it looks really awesome. And they've really added something new to a genre that was really good anyway. But it's nice to see a developer come up with something new and add something to a genre that's been around a long time. And I'm really tempted to pick it up myself. If you're into 2D side-scrolling action games, or run-and-gun games like the Contra series, then definitely check this out. This will be right up your alley, and you'll absolutely love it, I promise. And hey, if you've never played a run-and-gun game before, then you could definitely start here. Not only is it a really good quality game, but it's a really good price, and it's really modern as well. And if you don't like the look of this, then you're most likely going to have to pick up one of the older series instead. But don't worry, if you keep up with the videos, you won't miss them when they're on sale next. Up next is my star by Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, but the original games are much older than that really, although they are remastered here. And it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £5.99, which is a really good deal for 3 legendary AAA games from a legendary series, and a legendary developer as well. It's just a shame they kinda suck now. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Veilguard. You're rubbish. And this edition includes the original Mass Effect trilogy, including over 40 DLC and extras, plus they're all remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD graphics, which is really cool. You're getting the best version of the games with a massive amount of content included, which is great. In these RPGs, you get to create and customize your own Commander Shepard, the only person who stands between humanity and its greatest ever threat, as you lead your crew across a galaxy in turmoil. And it features story choices that actually affect how the game goes. Well, until the end of the last game anyway. There's a bit of narrowing of the options there, and it funnels you into an ending more or less. But in any case, this is a legendary series for a reason. Don't let that bother you. Now, just in case you weren't aware, this was made by BioWare back when they were good. So yeah, the people that made Dragon Age, well, they made this at the same time. They alternated between them. They made Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Mass Effect. And out of the 2 franchises, this one's more consistent. The whole trilogy is pretty much really liked. 1 and 2 are definitely legendary and loved. Number 3, I think had a hard time on launch. A lot of people weren't happy with the way it went at the time, but looking back on it, I think people in general are happy about the trilogy as it is. I'm not saying they wouldn't change stuff about the 3rd one, but I'm gonna say that they're not as unhappy as they were on launch. Either way, these days, really good AAA RPGs are not very good from the West. So if you're looking for a good trilogy, this is it. It's going to be head and shoulders above most games that come out now, and especially if you're into sci-fi, then you'll absolutely love this. I myself love Dragon Age, and I haven't played these, but I've picked them up, and I can't wait to play them at some point. So again, if you're a big fan of RPGs and you never played these, or if you like sci-fi adventure games, check this out. They're legendary for a reason, and I promise you'll really enjoy them if you're interested in any of this sort of stuff. Like I said, it's my style buy. It's well worth your time and money, I promise. And hey, if you've never played an RPG before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. Yes, they're amazing. Yes, it's a great deal, but you're getting 3 full games. And if you didn't already know, RPGs take a long time to finish, especially good ones. So if you buy these and you don't like them, that's a lot of game that you're not going to play. But hey, if you like the look of them, at this price, it's not costing you too much, so you might want to take a chance anyway. They're legendary for a reason, and if you're interested, I would say check them out. But if not, you have so many options in this genre that don't worry, there'll be plenty more on sale in the future, and also ones that are cheaper than this, and still AAA ones as well. So if you like the sound of that instead, then don't forget to watch the videos, and you won't miss them when they're on sale next. We have a sports game next. PGA Tour 2K23 Tiger Woods Edition. It was released in 2022, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of $15.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, even though it's still quite expensive, as this edition includes the Michael Jordan playable character, with 1,300 virtual currency, and tons of cosmetics, plus both the PS4 and PS5 versions as well. So if you do want both of the versions, or you just want the Michael Jordan character, plus some other extras as well, then this is a really good deal. Although I really hate microtransactions and the way sports games are in general these days, it's still a good deal, so you might want to check it out. This golfing sim now features playable male and female pros, career mode, license courses, RPG elements, course designer, character customization, and 4-player local and online multiplayer as well. So if you like playing rounds of golf with your mates, online or in person, or with your friends or family, or at parties, then you might have a lot of fun with this as well. I know back in the day we used to love playing FIFA tournaments at parties, so if you got a lot of people that love golf, you might have a lot of fun with this as well. Although I am a bit disappointed it's limited to 4-player for the local, because if you're just going to trade controllers and you can play with one controller, then I don't understand why you can't play like an entire PGA Tour tournament or something and have a load of people playing it. I mean, back in my day, we used to play World Cup tournaments at parties, and everybody had a country, so maybe I've just got high standards or something, but it was fun to us anyway. Either way, this is a really good golf game. I mean, you don't have a lot of options these days, so this is pretty much your only major one. But hey, at least it's not completely awful. And on top of that, it's got some good multiplayer features, and they do add some more stuff to it as well. So, you can't go wrong really. Why not take a look at this one? Modern sports games may not be for everyone, but if you love golf, then why not check this out? It may just be the game you've been looking to play lately. And hey, if you've never played a golfing sim before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It is a modern one, and it's got a load of content, but it is still pretty pricey. So if you just want to try one for a change, you might want to pick up an old one instead, because it's likely going to be much cheaper than this, or even a different golfing game completely, although I'm not sure there's many around these days. But hey, if I see any on a really good deal, I'll cover them in future videos. So don't worry about it, you won't miss out. We're bringing back retro franchises next. Psychonauts 2. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £9.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal considering how expensive it normally is. In this adventure platformer, the leader of the psychic espionage organization has vanished, and there's a mole hiding in your headquarters, so now you must journey through the minds of friends and foes alike to unveil the mole and defeat a murderous psychic villain. Back in the day, adventure platforms were really huge, and I'm kinda disappointed they're not as big anymore, because they're really fun games, and I really love playing them. Sometimes I pick one up, and I'm not that interested in it, but once you start playing them, I don't know, there's just something about them that hooks me in, and I really enjoy playing them. Maybe it's the era I grew up in, but I don't know. I find that once I start, I just can't stop. Or maybe that's Pringles. Either way, this is a blast from the past, as originally the first game was really pretty legendary. It was a cult hit, and it's really famous now. It was a really cool adventure platformer back in the day, but what set it apart was the theme of it. The fact that you used psychic abilities and you went inside people's minds gave you really cool excuses to have really interesting and different level design. There's nothing really like it, and it's got a cool sense of humour and a cool art style as well, although a lot of games had cool art styles back then. It's a shame everything goes photorealistic these days. Either way, if you're a fan of old school adventure platformers, this is one from a legendary series, and it got really great reviews, and it's a really good modern one. So if you're interested in that genre, definitely check it out. If you like this sort of thing, you'll probably really enjoy it. And hey, if you've never played an adventure platformer before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. Not only is it still a bit pricey, but it's also a sequel, so you're probably missing out a bit with the story by not playing the first one, and maybe even the VR one as well, because I know that does fill in a bit of the blank, although it's not a big game, the VR version, so you wouldn't miss a lot if you didn't play that. There's quite a few games that you can pick up in this genre these days. Most of them are old or remasters, but hey, you do have options, and a lot of them are big AAA ones, and they're a lot cheaper than this on sale. So if you'd rather pick up one of them instead, then skip this one, and I'll let you know when they're on sale in future videos. I love this next game, Star Wars Squadrons. It was released in 2020, so it's only 4 years old, and it's on a 95% discount for the low price of £1.74, which is absolutely phenomenal for a massive AAA Star Wars game. And on top of that, it's fully playable in VR. Yeah, you heard that right. If you've got a PSVR 1, you can play this entire game in VR. Not a VR mode, the entire game. No compromises. Awesome. Now, there's no move controller support, but that doesn't matter because it's a flight sim. You don't use, hand controls for flight sims. It's a lot fiddlier than it needs to be if you did. In this fighter pilot game, you get to pilot both the Empire and Rebellion ships in a story told from both sides of the war. As an Empire pilot tries to defect and join the Rebellion, it features online 20-player online multiplayer, new multiplayer custom matches, B-Wings and TIE Defender ships, and VR. Did I mention VR? Now, I don't know how busy the online multiplayer will be these days, but this is a really good Star Wars game. If you're a fan of fighter pilot games, or you like Star Wars, you'll really enjoy this. It's a good quality game. But if you're a fan of both, you'll probably love it. And if you've got a PSVR 1 and you're a fan of both, then this will be amazing for you. Playing this game in VR is absolutely amazing. There's nothing like being in the space battles. It's so cool. I might even put some VR footage in because I know I've got some recorded from some of my gameplay. Just be aware that the video footage is not representative because the compression on the PS4 capture for VR makes the picture worse quality. In VR, in the game, is better than that. Now, I'm not saying it's as good as the PC version, but trust me, it's better than it looks in the video. So if you like fighter pilot games, like I said, I've played this myself. I've played probably 3/4 of the game and I absolutely love it. Now I have played it in VR, so that has made the experience better, but underneath you can tell it's a really good game. I played a lot of the older ones like Naboo Starfighter and the X-Wing series, and I absolutely loved them when I was younger. This is like that. It's back from the good old days when they made good games. I just wish they'd port it to PSVR too. That'd be really cool. Anyway, if you like any of this, definitely check it out. It's a really good game from a really good studio at a ridiculously low price. I was tempted to give it style buy, but I couldn't overlook 3 games in one bundle, so I didn't. Either way, check it out if you're as interested in it as I think you should be. And hey, if you've never played a fighter game before, then I would definitely say start here. It's a huge AAA one with full VR support, and it's under £2. I mean, what more do you want? You can't buy a coffee for that. If you're interested at all, and even if you're not, why not check it out at this price? It might just be the best game you've played in ages. We have some strategy games next. Valkyria Chronicles Remastered and Valkyria Chronicles 4 Bundle. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, although the games are older than that really, and they're on an 80% discount for the price of £8.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal considering the price of anime games in general. And the fact that this bundle includes Valkyria Chronicles Remastered and Valkyria Chronicles 4 means you're getting 2 full, really good quality games for a pretty decent price. Now, these are both turn-based strategy games, and in Valkyria Chronicles, the continent of Europa has plunged into a second European war, where you get to follow Lieutenant Welkin Gunther of Squad 7 as they fight for the Gallian militia against all hope to defeat the forces of the Empire. While Valkyria Chronicles 4 takes place during the same events of the first game, but follows Squad E of the Federation as they fight for freedom, but blizzards, waves of Imperial soldiers, and godlike Valkyrie may be too much for them. Now, in general, there's not a massive amount of turn-based strategy games around, and there's very few series of them as well. Now, this is a pretty big series, although it's, not that big around here compared to some of them like XCOM, but hey, they've been around a while, and that's for good reason as well. They're pretty good games, and considering you're getting 2 of them in this bundle, then if you're interested in turn-based strategy games, why not check this out? Especially if you're into Japanese games or anime games, then you'll probably really enjoy these. Like I said, they're really good strategy games, and if you've been looking for another one to play, then why not check these out? They might just be really cool games that you never knew existed. And hey, if you've never played a turn-based strategy game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It is a good deal considering what they are and how many games you get, but at the same time you can pick up other ones a bit cheaper than this, and even big AAA ones that are more well-liked, like XCOM as well. So you do have options, and they're pretty similar in price. But hey, if you really like the look of these ones, or you're into Japanese developed games, then definitely check these out. They're a good deal, and if you like what you see, then you'll probably love them. So definitely take a look if you know you're interested. But if not, don't worry, there'll be plenty more games for you to choose from in future videos. And the final game I have for you is 13. Yeah, I know it's the 13th game, but the title's also 13, and it's not the number 13, it's the Roman numerals 13, so it's XIII if you didn't know that. Either way, it was released in 2020 or 2022, depending on which version you buy. That makes it between 4 to 2 years old, and that's kind of irrelevant anyway, because it's a remake of a game that's much older than that, really. And it's on a 90% discount for the price of £1.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for an indie cult classic that has been remastered fully, which is a really good deal, as this is a remake of the 2003 cult classic, but the PS4 and PS5 versions are separate and there's no upgrade, so make sure you pick up the one you want, because you can't buy them both unless you pay for them twice, which is a shame, but just make sure you're picking up the right one, although they are both remastered from an old game, so my gut would say there's not really much difference between the versions. But in any case, make sure you pick up the one you actually want to pick up, and don't get the wrong one by accident. In this first-person shooter, after the assassination of the president, 13 wakes up on a beach, injured with no memory, and now you must piece together your forgotten past and delve deep into a world of conspiracies and intrigue, and it even features 4-player online multiplayer, although considering it's an old game and it's a remaster, and I'm not sure if the multiplayer is separate for the PS4 and PS5, who knows how reliable it is to bet on that as your gameplay. Either way, it was originally a single-player story game, and that's what you should be buying it for. It's a cult classic, and the best way to play it if you want to play the game now. So if you like first-person shooters and you want one that's got story, more than the modern ones which are less story and more multiplayer orientated, then you should definitely check this out. It's a cult classic for a reason, and I think if you've never heard of it but you like these sorts of games, you'll really enjoy it. So why not check it out if you like the sound of that? And hey, if you've never played a first-person shooter before, then you could start here. It's a really good quality game at a really low price, and especially considering you can pick it up for PS5, there's not a lot of PS5 games you can pick up for this, especially ones with such good heritage. So if you're interested, definitely take a look at it. You don't have much to lose at this price. And that's all the games I have for the Black Friday PSN sale. Man, I hate it when they do Black Friday and things like that, because the days mix up and it makes it a pain for me to do the videos, because now I'm trying to do them as quick as possible to get them out before the sale ends. Either way, they're probably out by now, otherwise you won't be listening to this. But since you are, I did it. Woohoo! Anyway, what did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the star buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your comments below and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you found some cool games to play, but more importantly, I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Au revoir.